Fantasy football notes from Week 13. Drake London accounted for 50% of Marcus Mariota's attempts, which is a good sign before the bye. Demarcus Robinson has shown some chemistry with both Lamar Jackson and Tyler Huntley. This was his third game across his last 5 with 8+ targets. James Cook is a good example of why you stash rookies that are in good offenses that the team invested in. He saw more touches than Devin Singletary this past week. Cole Kmet's a good play when Justin Fields is on the field. Volume is good for Kmet. He's had 2 big weeks over 20 fantasy points, 13-ish this past week. Samaje Perine is a good example of why you hold the backup running back until the starter is actually 100% back. He got the start again the last 3 weeks. He scored 30.2, 19.3, and 21.5 fantasy points. Down week in Cleveland for Deshaun Watson, but at the end of the day, the defense and special teams won them this game. Tony Pollard and Ezekiel Elliott continue to coexist for fantasy. Pollard's been on a tear. Zeke's had 16+ in his last 3. Across the last 4, these guys have combined for 9 touchdowns. Greg Dulcich led the way for the Denver Broncos. He had 8 targets. He took them for 85 yards. Judy looked pretty good in his return. 4 receptions on 4 targets for 65 yards. DeAndre Swift is back. 14 attempts for 62 yards and a touchdown, 4 receptions for 49 yards. This is a great sign heading towards the fantasy playoffs because he wasn't being utilized. 8 touchdowns in his last 4 games is insane for Christian Watson, freak athlete, and Aaron Rodgers is unlocking him. Good to see Dameon Pierce getting some volume again, but let's talk about Nico Collins, who's seen 10, 7, 9, and 10 targets the last couple of games. He's in that flex category. Rough Michael Pittman Jr. week, he was behind all of Alec Pierce, Paris Campbell, and Ashton Dulin in fantasy points. Not a good Travis Etienne fantasy week, but there were some good signs here because we didn't even know if he was going to play, and he saw 16 touches. Isaiah Pacheco back-to-back solid fantasy weeks, over 15 points. He's in a great offense, good signs here. Keenan Allen back to form. He saw some great volume this past week. He's been trending up since being healthy. Literally cannot trust anybody from the Rams right now. It is gross over there. We don't know what's going on. 2 Las Vegas Raiders have been absolute league winners so far this year, Devontae Adams and Josh Jacobs. You can see their stats below if you want to pause. Tyreek Hill continues to check the boxes of high volume, big receiving yard upside, touchdown upside, and fantasy production. Dalvin Cook continues to see solid volume, which is what you want at the end of the day for the running back position. Ramondre Stevenson kind of bust-proof because of the receiving work he gets. Darius Slayton is the answer if you need a pass catcher from the Giants. Back-to-back big games for Garrett Wilson. This guy is a stud, and Mike White is helping his stock. After 3 straight weeks under 13 fantasy points, we saw the A.J. Brown that we actually know. He had 8 receptions on 10 targets, 119 receiving yards, 2 touchdowns, 31.9 fantasy points. Good.